Good morning and welcome students. Today in this lecture we will study the various characteristics of the community. These features that characterize a community are as follows. You can see in this slide these are stratification, ecotone, dominance, then species diversity, succession, that is ecological succession, and trophic structure. We will see one by one. Okay, first we will study the stratification. What is meaning of stratification? As you somewhat studied in 11th and 12th, that stratification and ecological succession. Now, here we will study it as a feature of community. Here, communities that possess a large biomass and they usually exhibit stratification, that is, the populations they contain are spaced out or distributed into definite horizontal or vertical shelter. This is called as stratification. Here the forest communities are subterranean, then forest floor, herbaceous, shrub and tree strata. These are the five stratas levels in the stratification of forest community. Similarly, animals live on the forest floor. Some animals live on shrubs, on low vegetations, and still others are in the tops of the trees. These are the strata in which animals are found. Okay. The animals that occupy such similar strata or ecological niches, they, although geographically separated, are called as ecological equivalent. Okay. Now, the second feature of community is ecotone. Here, between two distinct communities, there may be an intermediate transitional zone. This zone is called as ecotone. For example, a marginal zone or region between a forest and pasture or open land. Okay, that area is called as ecotone, where two different communities stay. Then third feature is dominance. In every community, all the species are not equally important. There are relatively only a few of species which determine the nature of community. These few species, they exert a major controlling influence on the community, and such species are called as dominant species. Then next feature is species diversity. Each community is made up of different types of organisms, plants, animals, microbes, etc., which differ taxonomically from each other. The number of species and population abundance in community also vary greatly. There are two levels of species diversity: regional diversity and local diversity. Then next is succession. Each community has its own developmental history. It develops as a result of a directional change in it with time. That ecological succession we had studied and we will study in detail in coming lectures. The next, trophic structure. The feeding relation of species in the community determine flow of energy and material from plant, that is herbivorous, to carnivorous, and this exists as a self-sufficient, perfectly balanced assemblage of organisms. It is called as trophic structure. Okay, first trophic level, second trophic level, third trophic level, and so on. Here, these are some certain features of community. Okay. Then next, we will study the structure of community. Here, the community is mainly formed of two types of organisms, that is heterotrophic organisms and autotrophic organisms. that we had already seen in biotic community and abiotic components of environment. Now, here community in one area depends on the available component. These two components that we had already studied, autotrophic component in which the plants are mostly involved. These plants produce their own food. Okay. The fixation of light energy by the process of photosynthesis into organic compounds. Okay, these complex materials generally called as food, they are stored inside them, and then this energy is used by second component, that is heterotrophic component. Okay, now we will see the structure of structural component of community. These are four: producers, consumers, decomposers, and abiotic components. First, we will see the producers. The producers are also called as autotrophic organisms. Those living member of the ecosystem that utilize sunlight as their energy source and simple inorganic materials like water, carbon dioxide, salt, etc. to produce their own food. Thus, producers are largely photosynthetic plants and their various varieties which are present in the ecosystem. For example, in forest ecosystem, the trees are the most important producers. In lakes and pond ecosystem, the rooted or large floating plants and phytoplanktons are the producers, and some algae are also producers. In the ocean, the rooted and floating algae are the producers. Okay. They may be small or their size may be large. In this way, the producers are the component of community. Then second component are consumers. Consumers are those living organisms that depend on producers directly or indirectly for their food and energy requirement. They derive their food from green plants directly or indirectly. When they ingest herbivorous animals, they ingest the plant material. Then this plant material is broken down into simple substances which are metabolized in consumer's body, and the waste product of their metabolism are released into the environment. Hence, the consumers maybe are of two or three types. They may be primary consumers, means they directly eating or directly depend on plants. Then secondary consumers, they depend on primary consumers, or simply they are called as carnivorous. And then top consumers or tertiary tertiary, okay? Yes, tertiary consumers, they are also called as top carnivorous, and we had seen their examples also. These are the consumers. Then next we'll see the decomposers. Decomposers or microorganisms, also called as micro consumers, they are also called as saprophytes. Here they are living components. They survive on dead and decaying material in the community or environment, and their role is to decompose that material into simple substances. They may be simple organic or simple inorganic substances, and in this way their role is very essential in the community, and hence they are also the structure of community. Then abiotic components or substances are also important in the community. These components or materials includes the source of energy, that is sun and sunlight. Then it also includes materials like water, minerals, atmospheric gases, salts, etc. In this way, these are the abiotic components, and their circulation is called as mineral circulation or biogeochemical cycles that we had studied already in previous years, and we will study in detail in next lectures. Okay, these inorganic components, they circulate in the community, in the ecosystem, and this circulation we will call as biogeochemical cycles. Like there are carbon cycle, phosphorus cycle, sulfur cycle, etc., and these are essential part in the community, and hence these are also components of abiotic components of the community. And hence we will stop here. Remaining part we will study in next lecture. Okay, thank you, students.